She said, just read it, because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it.
So it's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much.
Blake Lively reportedly finds herself in turmoil following a dramatic twist in the high-profile legal battle that positions her against Justin Baldoni and his production team. Several sources indicate that Baldoni's attorney has released a substantial collection of leaked files and communications, allegedly providing detailed insights into private discussions and fueling widespread speculation over the implications for both sides. The colossal dispute first gained traction thanks to its massive financial stakes, said to involve a $400 million defamation suit, and the prominent figures entangled, notably Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. However, since this new set of documents surfaced, the spotlight has shifted to the potential repercussions for Lively's stance, especially if any of the disclosures contradict her prior assertions. Long before these recently unveiled files came to light, tensions had already soared, with both camps accusing each other of derailing the film's intended direction. The movie in question was once touted as an uplifting adaptation of a best-selling novel, aiming to probe themes of interpersonal bonds and emotional growth. Baldoni was confident he could bring a meaningful dimension to the story as both director and co-producer, drawing from his history of emotionally charged projects. Readers of the novel were delighted by the announcement that Blake Lively had joined the cast. Although Ryan Reynolds had no official production credit, rumors quickly emerged about his strong influence, suggesting that he was shaping key decisions through both direct recommendations and subtle sway. Early in pre-production, the team seemed united by a shared excitement to craft an adaptation that would resonate with die-hard fans and newcomers alike. But signs of discord emerged when discussions over specific character developments, costuming choices, and comedic elements escalated. From Baldoni's viewpoint, he grew uneasy that certain ideas might dilute the story's core emotional moments. He felt Lively's preference for high-end fashion and comedic twists risked overshadowing crucial dramatic beats embedded in the original narrative.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, I mean, think of the ladies I can. Like, this is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I mean, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh, really? Because I just have one on my list. I didn't. I don't have anyone on my list.
And then it wasn't funny anymore.
No, it's so much more of a burn. He's like, wait, who? And I was like,
Tell me, and he's
think
guessing.
of someone, think of someone. Bob Newhart, I don't know.
Lively's representatives, on the other hand, insisted she was only offering creative feedback, conscious of modern audiences and the personal brand she has cultivated. At first, these friction points appeared to be standard production challenges, yet they quickly evolved into something far more intense. Public debate around the feud intensified once Lively filed an official complaint alleging hostile treatment by Baldoni and his team. Widely covered in the media, her filing depicted a tense set environment where her concerns were sidelined. Baldoni countered by presenting texts, schedules, and backstage notes, suggesting that Lively had not only been thoroughly involved, but was also enthusiastic about his vision at multiple junctures. He argued that her charges stemmed less from genuine discomfort and more from a strategic effort to secure increased creative authority. He then initiated his own high-stakes lawsuit, a headline-grabbing $400 million claim for defamation and financial damages. Since then, the conflict has evolved into a labyrinthine spectacle, prompting some entertainment reporters to compare it to a live-action soap opera. The film industry has been rattled by the abrupt emergence of this vast trove of leaked conversations. Those who have glimpsed segments say it includes text threads tracking how the Lively-Baldoni partnership shifted from friendly repartee to heated arguments. Alleged references to third-party contributors, some of them major celebrities close to Lively, also appear. According to legal chatter, parts of these communications may starkly oppose crucial parts of Lively's official account. Baldoni's lawyers are convinced these materials will serve as irrefutable proof that Lively was never caught unawares by his directorial decisions. Despite her claims to the contrary, they suggest her retelling of events might have been consciously edited to back her grievance. Central to the debate is the notion that Lively may have initially endorsed the project's creative direction, even laughing along with certain narrative choices, an idea that could undermine her claim of feeling disregarded. Skeptics argue that such messages might reveal an actress who was open to comedic updates or extravagant costuming, only to later point to those same elements as evidence of discord. Supporters of Lively, however, emphasize that context matters. Messages could be incomplete, jumbled, or reflective of passing sentiments. Without a clear chronological framework, it's difficult to pinpoint when exactly the collaboration began to fracture. Even so, mere hints of voice recordings or direct admissions have triggered alarm within Lively's circle. Reports suggest late-night crisis meetings as her team prepares to handle potential fallout if proof emerges that conflicts with her earlier claims. A major source of contention is how the main character's socioeconomic status should be portrayed.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
Baldoni insists the protagonist was meant to be depicted as navigating tight finances, which he believes is a critical factor driving the emotional weight of the plot. Yet Lively, renowned for her stylish image, was spotted in lavish outfits that seemed to clash with the character's modest background. Observers on social media voiced confusion, and some ridiculed the apparent disparity between the novel's depiction and the on-set visuals. This disconnect grew into a prominent talking point, with Baldoni's camp alleging that Lively pushed for an extravagant style, contrary to the grounded nature of the story. Lively's backers argue that as an A-list talent, she frequently collaborates with directors to elevate costume design, aiming to reach a broader audience. Ultimately, the debate over high fashion looks became a microcosm of more profound creative rifts. The role Ryan Reynolds may have played in the saga is another major element fueling the legal crossfire. Though never officially listed as a producer, he is said to have contributed extensive commentary on the script. According to Baldoni, Reynolds proposed comedic moments, softened heavier themes, and bolstered Lively whenever she lobbied for changes. In one rumored set of leaked texts, Reynolds might discuss the comedic potential of certain scenes or push for adjustments aimed at maximizing mainstream appeal. Baldoni's group sees this as an overreach that compromised the story's essential heart, whereas Lively's allies argue that Reynolds merely offered positive input. If the leaked records indicate he was involved in ways that align with Baldoni's version, it could substantiate claims that Lively and Reynolds wielded disproportionate power, diminishing the director's authority. Meanwhile, the chronology of events has also become a sticking point. Lively's legal filing posits that she experienced discomfort for a prolonged period before bringing her complaint to light, implying a pattern of problematic behavior. Baldoni, however, has long maintained that relations were amicable until certain script changes and wardrobe demands caused tensions to flare. If the leaked messages show a collaborative, friendly dynamic deep into the production timeline, that might challenge Lively's claim that underlying issues were present from the beginning. Whether such proof would indicate a healthy work atmosphere or merely reveal that she bottled up her frustrations for a time remains open to debate. Still, it's well known that public opinion can shift rapidly when documented evidence directly refutes a party's statements. Another intensely discussed point in the leaked material is speculation about a globally famous musician who is rumored to be in Lively's inner circle.
A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, it's like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blue, something new.
Wait, which
except
one?
it's just,
Now I want to think of the scene.
Oh, I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
And tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I borrowed
that's
it.
his suit?
It was meant for him to wear, but it's so pretty. Look at it. You guys are not getting it in the shot.
Multiple celebrity gossip outlets have suggested that the singer, believed to be a high-profile figure often linked to Lively socially, contributed to revising the script. The major question is whether the leaked records confirm those contributions and how much those suggestions might have reworked the film's tone. Baldoni's team argues these star-driven additions inserted comedic or crowd-pleasing bits that eroded the emotional resonance he was aiming for. Lively's supporters retort that creative input from any source was intended solely to refine the film. The fresh leaks could finally reveal who offered what ideas, how they were initially received, and the ripple effects that followed. While it's common for big-budget films to encounter creative conflicts, the sheer scale of Baldoni's defamation suit, coupled with the celebrity factor of those involved, has resulted in a wave of media fascination. Lawyers on both sides are embroiled in a high-stakes duel, each accusing the other of misrepresentations that jeopardize the project as a whole. Fans of the original novel view the spectacle with dismay, bemoaning the fact that a story they cherish is now overshadowed by sensational controversy. Moreover, investors and studio executives are reportedly nervous about the detrimental press overshadowing the film's future. In an industry where perception matters greatly, No one wants to be associated with a public brawl that might tarnish the movie before it even sees a theatrical or streaming release. Blake Lively, whose public image relies significantly on her approachable charm, faces a potential reputational blow if she is seen as manipulating press narratives for personal gain. The phrase "loses it" has trended on social platforms, often paired with speculation, whether accurate or not, of her supposedly heated reactions to the ongoing drip of leaks. Insiders familiar with Lively's perspective say she is determined to protect herself.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her,
insisting that Baldoni's team is cherry-picking or misrepresenting the facts. However, the sheer volume of new documents could alter people's perception of the situation's timeline, especially if they indicate moments when Lively not only agreed with certain creative decisions, but actively praised them. Among the rumored highlights of the leaked correspondence is a moment where Lively allegedly commends a particular scene, applauding both its emotional quality and Baldoni's directing choices. Baldoni's lawyers appear eager to showcase such pieces of evidence to argue that Lively's statements about feeling dismissed do not square with her private praise. Even so, Lively's legal counsel counters that a limited number of messages cannot capture the full breadth of her experience, pointing out that temporary agreement about certain elements does not rule out deeper concerns elsewhere. They argue that only a complete examination of all the messages can accurately depict how interactions gradually shifted from lighthearted to acrimonious. Fresh scrutiny has also fallen on the widely discussed clash that allegedly took place at Lively and Reynolds' residence. Baldoni contends the gathering was intended to finalize details for certain stunts, but that Reynolds misunderstood remarks about athletic preparation as comments on Lively's physique. Tempers flared, eventually leading to raised voices and the abrupt cancellation of a pivotal scene. If the leaked files show that Lively had earlier expressed enthusiasm for that same stunt, or if there is an indication she was fine with the training plan, it could reinforce Baldoni's argument that this blow-up stemmed more from personal irritations than from actual misconduct on his part. From Lively's vantage point, the atmosphere had already grown so poisonous that any conversation could trigger discord. The way these messages portray that particular incident might prove decisive if the conflict goes to trial. Speculation swirls around whether more revelations are forthcoming. Baldoni's attorney has hinted that the current leak is just a starting point.
It's based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
Suggesting further disclosures could surface if the dispute escalates. This possibility places Lively's team on guard, wary of additional leaks that might erode their narrative. Some industry pundits believe that if more damaging information emerges, settlement negotiations could speed up, with both sides recognizing the risks of ongoing negative exposure. Others speculate that the high-profile nature of the feud will motivate both Lively and Baldoni to stand their ground, each seeking to validate their version of events and safeguard their public standing. While fans mourn the tarnishing of a potentially heartwarming adaptation, the media spotlight has zeroed in on the sensational details. Producers involved are said to be distancing themselves, cautious of stepping into a confrontation where personal rivalries and power struggles have come to overshadow purely creative concerns. Baldoni maintains that his chief objective was to remain true to the source material and deliver an experience fans of the book would find familiar. He argues that Lively's desire for comedic elements, lavish costumes, and high-profile marketing risked drowning out the essence of the story. Lively, however, insists she aimed to modernize select components, recognizing how humor and stylish visuals could broaden audience appeal. She asserts that she never intended to misinterpret the book's core themes and only filed her complaint after feeling her feedback was systematically devalued. If the leaked communications detail exactly how any rewrites or costume modifications were proposed and whether Baldoni initially endorsed them, observers hope a thorough assessment will reveal whether the core issue was purely creative conflict or if it escalated into a clash of personalities and egos.